Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Sweet Baby Inc. again. Apparently the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., this is Kim Belair. She was out there making some comments about the alt-right and the YouTubers and all the hatred that they're getting at Sweet Baby Inc. And yeah, we're gonna talk about this because this is coming on the heels of them changing up their website to drop their client list from the website, and they've been going back and forth with gamers. And look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they did or didn't do. The games they've worked on did not sell.
Right, but you can't keep blaming everything on far-right supremacy.
I think what is actually going on here is that they're not getting called anymore because again, it's not because of YouTube. It's because people realize that your games you work on with the DEI and the whatever, they don't want them. They don't want the games. They don't want this. And I think a lot of these corporations are starting to wake up to the fact that they don't need sensitivity readers and DEI consultants, and they're not calling you. It's a waste of money.
No, and to blame it all on, it's far-right people is bullshit, because a lot of people who are the diversity people that you're representing are tired of it too, because it's actually done more damage than it has done good.
Yeah, there was a poll on NeoGAF, which is pretty far left, and 95% of the people on NeoGAF is like, yeah, I don't want DEI in games. I want good gameplay over DEI.
So they can't all be, far right, alt right, whatever you want to argue.
Anyway, here we go. It's just like it's 2017. 2017 never ended. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to clownfish-.com, join the non-plus club, and you get 50% off your first month. We put exclusive content out there, including podcasts, and we're going to be ramping up Clownfish Minus. So thank you very much for the support on that. This is coming from Bounding in the Comics. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair reflects on company backlash, says anti-DEI critics are coming together under the rallying cry of far-right supremacy. Maybe,
just a thought, Kim, just a thought. Maybe it's not, you keep blaming it far right, and I'm sure there are some people that are far alt-right. I'm sure that does happen. But maybe, possibly, have you ever considered that you are extreme left and your ideals are extreme left, and the majority of people, like the normies, are tired of it? And they don't like it, or maybe people just want quality that happens to have diversity and inclusion over whatever the heck you've been putting out. I mean, have you considered, instead of blaming everybody else, maybe look inward?
Yeah, she had this keynote at this festival. Is it XOXO or Zozo? That might be more appropriate. Festival, which Pert's official. So it's not even like I don't even think it's a big deal. It's not like South by Southwest or whatever.
That's hugs and kisses.
Is that what it is? Hugs and kisses?
No, I'm saying XOXO is hugs and kisses usually. I just thought that's funny. I mean, that's usually the hugs and kisses.
It's an experimental festival celebrating independent artists and creators working on the internet, whose various speakers typically discuss the emotional experience
It is hugs and kisses.
of making things with difficult subjects, including financial insecurity, anxiety, depression, mental health, imposter syndrome, burnout, racism, sexism, and online harassment.
But that's pretty much what faces any game developer.
Yeah.
Including the sexual harassment, because if you're a dude, you're going to get harassed also. Don't act like it's only women, because that's bullshit.
So she had this, I don't know if we can run this clip. I
don't even want to hear it.
Okay, well, we'll just get the highlights here. She said she's Kim Belair. I think of myself as a relatively nice person.
Cool.
Yeah.
She has dogs and cats. Okay, yay. Lego. Okay, yes. Skulls and taxidermy is a little weird, but hey, everything else, like Elden Ring. Okay, so far, we're vibing, yeah. But then you have to make it about racism.
Yeah, by day, I'm the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all the video games you've ever played.
Well, honesty is good.
Hey, if the shoe fits.
Look, the problem with this thing is that you guys go looking for problems that aren't there. And you're so busy trying to push an agenda, and you're pushing it too far. You're pushing it so far, not just you necessarily, but in general. And the problem is the DEI has actually done the opposite of what it's intended to do. And it's turning people against diversity and inclusion, where if you had we had games and movies and shit with diversity and inclusion for years and no one cared. In order to make sure that you're the one solving the problem, that you have to restart the problem, but you've made it worse. and your solution has actually caused more damage to people, and they're worse off than they were 10 years ago as far as bigotry is concerned because of your stupidity.
That's just it. And look, I mean, I said on Twitter, I said, this is not just a Sweet Baby Inc. problem. They are the symptom of a bigger problem, which is these corporations think they need to go hire sensitivity readers and DEI consultants and all stuff to be trendy and whatever. And it's actually backfired. They've actually hired these people on multiple occasions, not just Sweet Baby Inc. And it's not just video games. Anytime you bring in sensitivity readers, look what happened to D&D, right? Players are like, what the hell are you doing? And it's a very like a, hey there, fellow kids moment, right? It reeks of like edutainment. It's like, oh God, here comes a part where they start preaching at the audience.
It's funny. She's going to read this next part, but she even admits that they start out in 2018. No, I would never have guessed.
Yeah.
Never have guessed. But you read it, go back up. Her comment above that. You know, if you haven't heard of us, thank you. That's actually how I prefer it. If you have, you've either heard of us from all the wonderful games that we've worked on, or perhaps you're familiar with a nearly year-long hate campaign waged against us as a team.
Well, okay, let's talk about that, because she pulled up this collage of YouTube thumbnails, and one of ours is in there too.
Oh, really? Where?
It's buried in the bottom in there somewhere.
Okay.
It's that Harley Quinn you can kind of see, right?
Okay.
Let me see here. There we go. Well, anyway, she
flashes on the screen?
Yeah, she
Thanks for the advertisement.
Mostly it's Asmongold.
Even though we don't even talk about you hardly at all. But
No.
you know.
Well, apparently she lifted this. She lifted, is it Sayal? See y'all? I made this image. That's why I'm on so much. Lazy gaming industry grifters are too lazy to even manage their own materials.
So they stole the image. On top of everything else, she stole the image.
She stole the image.
What you're...
Yeah, this is his thumbnail right here. Yeah, there we are right there. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, it's when you get on Asmongold's radar too, it's like you done lost the plot at that point, right?
And what we were talking about in that article, if I remember that video, was about the fact that people were blacklisting the game, their
Yes.
games they worked on. It was just, we were covering the media news about how they were blacklisted by people.
Yeah. So they couldn't even be bothered. I mean, that's the thing that gets me. Like, if I were a developer, I were a studio, I'd be looking at this like, you're gonna go to some festival, complain about the online hatred and harassment. And I mean, this is a very, like I said, very 2017, 2018
Well,
take.
they started in 2018, so this makes sense.
Yeah, and you have to realize, like, these games take years to come out, right? So they start in 2018, they start picking up jobs in 2020. Now the games are coming out. So the proof is in the pudding, no pun intended, because we're talking, Joker, Harley Quinn, all that, whatever. But the pudding didn't sell very well.
No, that's just it. And the thing is, okay, I love it. Somehow, again, Schrodinger's fandom, somehow these people no one listens to, but yet they somehow single-handedly, globally caused everybody to hate the games they worked on. Or probably the better, the more accurate reason is because people played the games, didn't like the games. They honestly don't want to know who was behind them, but they just thought, I'm tired of this shit. I'm not interested in the game sucked. That probably has more to do with it than somehow, we have all this reach yet we don't at the same time.
Yeah. So this is interesting. And at least she is very cognizant of this. She said during 2020, there's a lot of overpromising of jobs for marginalized creators.
That's true.
She said, BLM was in full swing. The industry was responding in the way you might imagine, a lot of overpromising, but within the writing sphere, there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews. Like, hey, if you're marginalized, or especially a black developer, we'd love to give you guys portfolio reviews. And she said, I love portfolio reviews. Okay, well, so far there's nothing wrong with that, right? She said, but okay, this is where it gets. But the problem with portfolio reviews is that they also assume it's a meritocracy.
Because, how dare we have a meritocracy?
They assume the problem is your portfolio and not the fact that maybe there's a lot of other reasons you're not getting the gig. Like shooting your mouth off on social media and attacking gamers and like Cyberpunk 2077. I remember there was this whole story about how it was pushing white supremacy and the guy who created Cyberpunk's black dude.
Oh, I know.
And they didn't know. Like a simple Google search, you could have figured out that it was a black dude, right? Yeah. They said knowing there were myriad problems to be solved, we created an email.
So wait, let me get this straight. Because of Black Lives Matter, they're saying and that they got their portfolio looked at, but then when they got to the portfolio part, they still expected them to be good.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like, wait, what?
She basically says meritocracy is a problem. She said
that's insulting though, because you're implying that diverse or marginalized people are not good enough. That it's a meritocracy, so they don't get through because they aren't good enough. And that's what you're implying. That's what you just said. You just did the opposite of what you're claiming you're going on about.
So basically,
oh my God, she goes on and on.
So
Holy
yeah,
shit.
I mean, this is a long, and I'm not going to get, but basically, she's complaining about it. She's saying that how they started was that they were trying to get people into the industry. And look, I have absolutely no problem. I have no problem. Actually, the more the merrier. I don't care if you're, black, brown, queer, trans. I don't give a. I don't
People
care.
that work on our comics, I don't think any of them are white.
I don't think so.
Except for us.
Except for us. But like, I don't care. I really, truly, truly do not care.
No, if you're good and you're easy to work with and you have personalities can work together and you're good at what you do, we'll work with you. We don't care.
Right. As long as you're not, screaming.
Right. If you're on social media acting like that, we're gonna no way in hell.
It actually works the other way too. I mean, as far as I mean, this is just me, but as far as I'm concerned, like if your entire personality is politics and that is it, and you're going to like drag the company because of your political hot takes, just constant like that, you obviously care more about politics than you care about doing your job.
Yeah, no.
We're not going to get along because I'm going to be like, at this point, even if you're right wing, I'm going to be like, you're actually hurting the company. And we left a couple people go because they were ramping up the politics on the right side too. We're like, we can't have this on, the project we're working on because it's not a good look for us. And it makes everybody look at us like you guys are just hyper obsessed with politics and we're not. But yeah, how this thing, this thing really started was, and she is correct. It was all these companies are like, oh, we need to have more diversity and inclusion.
Right.
Let's go
Then she's like, but then they get to your portfolio and they're like, but then it's a meritocracy. Well, why wouldn't it be? I mean, so you get your reviews that you said you were kept out of, and then you still don't get it because it's a meritocracy. That implies that the people you're hiring aren't good because they couldn't pass the meritocracy. That's kind of what you're saying, which is insulting.
Yeah, so she's going through the timeline here.
I don't want to go through the whole thing.
Yeah, we're not going. I mean, this is really long, but basically, she said once it came out. I mean, when they were working on Tumblr webcomic stuff, this is what I would expect, right? Goodbye, Volcano High. But then they worked on Spider-Man, and they worked on Alan Wake 2, and Spider-Man definitely was pretty heavy-handed, and people noticed things. I mean, do I believe it was all Sweet Baby Inc? No, I do not. But they are a symptom of a bigger problem, which is these companies were trying very hard to appease activists. I mean, they deliberately made Mary Jane uglier.
Yeah, they hate pretty women for whatever reason. And then they act like women don't want to play characters that are pretty. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and this is like, look, I don't agree with it. They said that they were finding photos, doxing family members, whatever. I don't agree with
that's the case, and that's bullshit.
I do not agree with that.
No, but I also say a lot of things. We don't ever prove a lot of things. But if that's the case, people shouldn't do that. That's taking it too far. And we never support doxing in any way, shape, or form. If you did do that, that's shit. Don't do that.
But what happened, as I recall, because I remember covering this when it first, the dam broke loose, it was Cabrutus, and he had a list on Steam, a curated list of these are games that, hey, if you've noticed some weird stuff with games lately, there's a common thread, and it's this, DEI consultant, Sweet Baby Inc., and here's a list of games they worked on in case you don't want more of the same. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't consider it a blacklist or anything. They're just
would just be like so-and-so, like, these are the games for this company, and you don't like this company because they vote the wrong way, or they donated money to the wrong side, or whatever, which they've done before.
Look at Scott Cawthon. He basically
or products or whatever.
Scott Cawthon basically had to quit his own franchise because they found out that he donated to Trump. So what happened was them trying to get that list taken down off of Steam actually had the opposite effect, the Streisand effect, and then the Sweet Baby Inc. kind of became a rallying cry for what would become like Gamergate 2.0.
So let me get this. So if you have a list of games that this company worked on, and you might not like the games because if you don't like they're the reason that stuff's been changed. That's racist. But if they have lists about what products not to buy because they voted the wrong way or because it's the wrong type of person, that's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's like. So Elon Musk, I guess he even got involved in it, and he was retweeting as like, here's a common thread. But again, I Sweet Baby Inc., they are definitely a symptom of a bigger issue with DEI. I think what's going on, and I don't advocate, I want to be very clear, I don't advocate for anyone harassing anyone,
No.
don't dox anyone, don't get into, unless they're being assholes first, don't go take a steaming shit on them on Twitter, whatever. You don't like the stuff that they put out, you don't have to buy it. It's as simple as that.
That's just it. Just don't buy it. You don't have to go harass them directly. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I think what is going on is they're not getting calls now, and they're blaming YouTube and they're blaming the chuds, but really it was gamers, consumers rejecting your product.
They don't just. If we're supposed to be such a vocal minority, how the hell is it hurting you this much? You know what I mean? It's because consumers in general just don't want it. So I didn't buy new stuff that came out that was pushing it. Whether it's not Sweet Baby Ink stuff, but that was pushing it too far. It didn't get sold because people are just tired of it.
This is so weird though. Because she's doing the same thing to YouTubers that she claims YouTubers are doing to her. She said, this is the other thing that happens, right? They take away your power in some ways, but they also ascribe to you this enormous power.
Yes, thank you.
Hollywood seems to think that YouTubers that barely have 1 million subs have the ability to lose them hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office, when most average people have never heard of these people. You know what I'm saying? So they're not paying attention. It's just the consumer's rejecting your product, right?
And the thing is, at the end of the day, that's what's going on. These games overall are much bigger than Sweet Baby Ink, and they're just getting rejected. And Sweet Baby Ink's taking it as if it was them, and everybody's after them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that is the case. It could just be not buying the game because the game sucks, and maybe you worked on it. But that doesn't mean that they're targeting you specifically. Do I think people are targeting them specifically? Yes. Do I agree with that all the time? No. But, here it is.
She said it's hard running a small business, but when Elon Musk is crawling bleary-eyed out of his money pit to tell us we deserve to go broke, it's a disaster.
Well, that kind of would suck. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, look, I think there's more to it. I mean, I think there's more to it than this, obviously, and I'm sure people have all kinds of receipts, whatever. I mean, the end of the day is if consumers are rejecting your product, studios will not be incentivized to hire you again. And it was corporate overpromising. It was we're going to go bring in the DEI consultant. They were right place, right time. They were ready to capitalize on it. But there were also some people, as I recall, that were associated with the team that were kind of well, it'd be a real shame if you didn't have diversity and inclusion in your...
They started threatening people, to try to get work, allegedly. And, this is where that road leads down. And it's at the end of the day, it's don't harass anybody. Just don't buy the games if you don't want to buy them. But there's no reason to dox people or harass them. But the flip side goes that they're also over-exaggerating, I think. Are there some people who are severely, pushing it too far? Yes, I 100% believe there probably are. Is it to the level that they're spinning it that anybody who doesn't agree with them is this, that, and the other? No. I think the general public just doesn't want your shit. That's just where it's at. But that being said, do not harass, dox, even talk at them. Just don't buy their stuff.
No, and that's the same thing with any of these studios now. What's going on is because of all the drama around this, people are outright rejecting any whiff of DEI.
Yes. Because as I said, DEI has gone so far across the board that it has done the opposite of what it was intended. And I've mentioned that at length several times. Yeah.
So now anything that doesn't have straight white men, sexy women, whatever in it for whatever reason, that is, they're going to look at that and be woke, DEI, whatever. And it is going to hurt. I think it is going to actually hurt the people that it was intended to help.
It already is. But it's also hurting projects that this might not be pushing DEI, but they happen to have characters that are diverse, but it's organic diversity, like we've seen in movies and stuff. They might be good games that weren't even going anywhere near this shit, but because they put diversity in it, people assume it's DEI shit.
BlackRock came up with a time machine. They went back to the 60s and they made Catwoman black. Those motherfuckers.
I know, because diversity didn't exist until these guys came up with it.
I know, right?
10 years ago.
So we're gonna wrap this up. Let's wrap it up, guys. There we go. I think they're gonna go out. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're gonna go out of business. So nobody in their right mind would call them after all the drama, for better or for worse. So we're gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Join the reef. Go to clownfish-.com. That's clownfish-.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfish-.com. Thank you so much for the support.